Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a very special episode of Ultima Final Fantasy, the ultimate in Final Fantasy podcasts who actually finished the entire series. I am Caleb Schweiss, and guys, today I am bringing you the best of Ultima Final Fantasy for the year of 2014. Man, it has been quite the journey, guys. We've been going for 5.5 years at this point. We finally finished the series with the mainline ones, of course. We're not done with the podcast, but the weekly episodes after we release all of these best of episodes will be complete. And like we've said before, any Patreon invites that we still owe people, those will be accounted for and those will be done. It's just when we can. I'm about to enter a really busy part of the year with my work and all of that. So it's going to get tough for right now, but I mean, of course, that ends after Christmas. And we'll start scheduling those again, so we'll release those periodically. We'll have the reviews. We've got the 14 expansion. I think Joe and I might have a little surprise for you guys regarding some other parts of some of the games as well that we just feel like, you know what, it's been years, we should probably do this. And hopefully you guys see that soon. Those aren't really very long. Honestly, I can't even remember if we've mentioned it on here, so you guys might already know what I'm talking about. But this is a combination of the funniest moments of 2014. Now, we could have made this about like the best moments, like the truly great moments of Ultima Final Fantasy, where we, you know, find some hidden meaning or find some great aspect of one of the games. But honestly, we're just not that fucking deep, so you're just going to have to deal with the crude-ass humor that we've dropped throughout the years. And thank you to all of you who have assisted us with this massive, massive undertaking, because Joe and I did not do it on our own. So thank you guys very much for your assistance to bring this wonderful project to life, and we really appreciate it. We had a lot of great help from Krinatal, Black Mage Justin. I'm trying to like do this by names. I guess Victor. Thank you to Victor. I think that's everyone. And then Joe and I think we might have had someone else earlier on. But thanks to all of you, though, for all of the great years of hanging out, of interacting with us, giving us reviews, hanging out on our 7,000 different iterations of the forums, which, hilariously enough, we're probably just going to go back to the original ones. Because we talked about just getting rid of the website, because it's like, you know what, fuck it, nobody uses websites anymore. But this is, without further ado, without further rambling and thanking you guys, let's get into the meat and potatoes of the episode. Here are the best moments of Ultima Final Fantasy for the year of 2014. Enjoy the episode, guys.
So what I did at the beginning of the game, instead of leveling up my health, I leveled up my attack first because I knew the glitch for the attack, and I didn't feel like spending my time hitting my own characters. And so I got to a point where if I hit my own character in order to try to level up like their health, I'd just fucking kill them in one hit. They'd kill themselves with the sword. I'm telling my characters to commit seppuku.
Yeah. Never thought of it that way.
Or they'd hit like their own brother or something with a sword.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck got into them? Like, in that world, what would you do if, like, let's say you're Gus and your sister just hacks you with a sword? She's like, I'm trying to help you.
Yeah. What are you fucking talking about trying to help me? Yeah.
Except that Gus would never say anything that eloquent.
Yeah. Gus.
Gus. I guess his name is Guy in other versions, but he's a fucking moron.
Yeah. The part where the princess is gone and he's like, where princess? Gus confused.
He's a fucking Pokemon. He's a shitty Pokemon, too. He's like the worst character in your fucking party.
Yeah, he's really beefy for a lot of the game, and then right before you get the final axes that some of the bosses drop in the Jade Cavern, is that what it was? Jade Passage? Jade Passage. He like does fucking nothing for a long time, and I'm just blown away because this fucker was doing like 2,000 a hit with each arm, and then all of a sudden you get into the Jade Passage and the couple areas before, and he's just nothing. I don't know, but when you find, I can't remember, it was like a ruby axe or some fancy axe that you find down in the Jade Passage, then he becomes relevant again, but for like the big fucking combat area, he's just...
I'm pretty sure Maria's just taking care of her retarded brother.
Yeah, I feel like that's a side story that like they didn't exploit really.
And they should have.
Yeah. They walk in and he's eating a jar of glue. No, Gus. And that should have been like a little side cut scene. Everyone wakes up at the inn and they come out and he's like eating the innkeep's hair. He says,
And then Keep doesn't know what to do because, he's mentally handicapped. He doesn't know how to deal with it. Like,
yeah, plus, I mean, we just spent like 10,000 gil here. So, I mean, do they really want to get rid of us?
God, so much gil. So much gil for a 4-bedroom hotel room. And it's the only fucking room in the hotel.
Yeah, not even 4 bedrooms.
You don't even get
beds.
breakfast the next morning.
Yeah, you can't even, like, masturbate because 3 of your best friends are, like, right next to you. I mean...
Yeah, no looking through the fucking porn.
Yeah, no porn. No need.
Gus wants porn.
Yeah, Gus horny.
She'd never seen a cock that big. It had to be close to the size of her forearm, easily. As she stood silently, Barrett dropped his shorts, exposing his 10-inch member.
On the bed, fucker!
His sudden space-ness made her smile. She climbed onto the bed and spread her legs, exposing her neatly trimmed strip of dark brown pubic hair. She pulled up her shirt, exposing the bottom part of her breast. It took a lot harder pull to get it over her nipples because it slipped over the top. Before it slipped over the top,
Because they're solid.
she pulled her top off and tossed it aside. Barrett walked to her and held his member out.
It's all ready, you dirty bitch! She took it in her hand and jacked it off slowly as she licked the head. Once she'd covered it in her saliva, she ran her tongue down the hole in the middle. Oh my god. Barrett's breathing deepened as he undid the belt on her leather skirt. She released his head and pulled her skirt off. She tossed it aside with her shirt and went back to licking the tip of his cock. He grabbed the back of her head and pushed her onto him, forcing his member into her mouth. She gagged at the suddenness of his movement, but quickly relaxed her throat and let his cock slide down her throat. He pushed her head hard up against his hips, almost cutting off her hair as his dick probes the depths of her esophagus. He pulled his member all the way out of her and laid her on her back so she was a diagonal on the edge of the bed with her head hanging off one end and her legs hanging off the other. He rocked around the bed and shoved his dick back into her mouth. She started playing with her breasts and drifting one hand down her stomach. About halfway down, she felt breathing on her hand and pulled it back to her breasts. Red was sitting between her legs and stuck a snout between her thighs. He started licking her moisture off her lips and making her moan into Barrett's dick, making him shout as he slammed himself deeper into her mouth.
Oh, Red hopped up on the bed with his front paws and used them to spread her legs open wider. Fortunately for her, she could almost do the full split, so her legs were pressed flat on the bed to her sides as the licking increased. It wasn't just the licking that she liked. He was panting, exhaling on her pussy, where he was licking, sending waves through her. Barrett pulled his dick out of her mouth and stood over her head so his balls were in her face and dropped his meat between her breasts. She pressed her breasts together and started moving them up and down along his shaft as she sucked his balls.
Red stopped licking her and climbed out of the bed. Barrett hooked her ankles with his elbows and pulled her so her hips were completely on the bed. Red positioned his head at the entrance and started rubbing it up and down, aiming it. When he was certain he'd found her tunnel, he put his paws on her thighs and started pushing in. Tifa felt an incredible pressure between her legs and tried to see what was happening, but she couldn't get her head from between Barrett's legs. Red realized he wasn't going in and pulled his member out. She heard him panting and tried to imagine what was happening.
She felt the panting above her hips and felt a warm liquid start dripping on her hips. She immediately knew that he was drooling on her for lubricant. What? He moved his cock back up to her stomach and started rubbing it on her to get his saliva on it. The feeling of him rubbing on her sent chills up her spine. She could feel exactly how long he was, and she was fairly certain he wouldn't fit. He, however, was not. She felt the head line up with her entrance and started pushing in. She felt the pressure, though slightly less than before. It was getting more and more painful, and in an instant the pressure jolted into her.
Her scream was muffled by Barrett's balls in her mouth. It took her a second, but she soon realized the pressure was his head going into her.
That was wonderful. He pulled his head out from under her dress and leaned into her with a kiss. They could taste each other, their saliva, but they didn't notice much difference since they never kissed before. How
do you not notice the gummy semen? You think that's normal?
Okay. I'm going to try to do this without puking. All right. As they kissed, she took his cock into her hand and began running her fingers lightly under his head. His member slowly rose and she reached into a hidden pocket in her tiny vest. They separated as she pulled out a condom and smiled. Can we? Wait a minute. So he had gone limp at some point?
Yeah. What the hell?
This Cloud's a young man. He's like 21, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't go limp after anything.
Yeah, I'm pretty much...
Even after I'm done, I'm still...
I mean, even randomly
rigorous.
throughout the day, I'll just be
that's true.
there.
Yeah, we're young guys.
Yeah.
I don't have any problems with one.
Cloud's... He's weak, apparently.
Yeah.
Maybe he's just weirded out because it was like Zach's last area.
All right. So, can we?
He smiled and started unbuttoning her dress. She opened the condom and took it into her hands. She started jacking him off again and getting him back to his hard self. She raised the condom onto his head and noticed her hands shaking. She smiled lightly and started rolling it down his shaft. He continued unbuttoning her dress past her belly button and noticed something he'd missed before. A small, neatly trimmed vertical path of light brown pubic hair.
How did he miss that? He was down there.
Well, yeah, and like before makes it seem like before today. I don't know. The one chance he had to see it, he didn't, and now he's questioning.
Oh, he was like all over her.
It's true.
Her business, and he didn't notice that there was a neatly trimmed patch of pubic hair.
I don't know.
He's like, oh yeah, I didn't see that before.
Yeah, thought it was all gone.
Yeah, whatever. She's Japanese. She ain't gonna trim that up.
Yeah, I'm gonna let it get super long.
He stared at it
God.
for a second, and she mumbled, "My hair gets darker in the summer, but not there."
That doesn't make
Her
any
hair
sense.
gets darker in the summer?
Yeah, mine gets like super
What?
light. She's a freak.
Oh.
He started at it for a second and she mumbled. Oh, never mind. He smiled and quickly pecked a kiss on her clit as he made contact. He felt her whole body jolt. He looked up at her as she smiled and giggled. She spread her legs wider and he moved to her. She suddenly felt herself getting more nervous and showed in her voice.
But please, go slow. Cloud nodded lovingly. How do you nod lovingly? Like slowly? Like a knowing...
Like a Star Wars nod. Dun. Dun.
Cloud nodded lovingly and positioned his head at her entrance. Wait, which head did he nod with?
Maybe that's why it was loving.
He's an incredible man. He's got some talents.
Yeah, he can't keep it up, but he can nod. He can nod with it.
Cloud nodded lovingly and positioned his head at her entrance. She looked up at her She looked up at her,
vag.
and she smiled back with a light nod. What? She looked up at her, and she smiled back with a light nod.
It's the same as him nodding with his cock. She's looking at herself with her own vagina.
Smiled back.
They have, like,
It's like,
deformed special genitalia. That's what we're finding out here.
okay, so she smiles at herself and smiles back at herself with a light nod, basically. Whatever that means.
Yeah.
He pushed lightly into her, parting her lips as he slid past them. She closed her eyes lightly as she felt his hot member entering her. She squinted as he hit her hymen. And slowly pushed into it. This is too much for me. She could feel her fibers breaking one by one. As he slid further into her, he could feel her body trying to keep him out, so he pushed a little more firmly. He could feel her flesh tearing lightly all at once he pushed through her chariot. Stop!
I don't even see where we're at. I'm just doing...
Stop! Okay, so looked out.
Her eyes
You got it?
widened as she felt him push past her barrier and slide a little into her deeper than anything had ever been. He waited for her breathing to lighten and her body to loosen before he started slowly pushing further into her. She felt him push himself into the hilt, and slide most of the way back out.
Push himself into the hilt?
I don't know.
You mean to the hilt? Not into the hilt.
That's what he
this-
should mean, yes.
Oh,
He pushed in
trying.
again, causing more pleasure than pain. She was already thankful that she'd gotten a lubricated condom for her first time. She leaned forward and wrapped her arms around his neck.
because her natural lubrication
When-
apparently isn't working, even
Yeah.
though she was soaking wet.
Yeah, that just dried up real quick.
Whatever.
Well, the condom does actually get rid of some of that. But anyway, when he pushed
Please share.
into
what
her,
your
she
condom
wrapped
is.
her legs around her waist and smiled weakly.
Please, go faster.
Cloud nodded and started sliding into her slightly quicker than before. She felt the pain disappear, replaced by a warmth, as she slid into her and back out. Oh my god.
What?
She
slid into her and pulled back out.
she's like pumping her fist in her ass too.
At the same time.
Yeah, just
Forgot to write that part. Wow.
that part's not so tight. She's like a nun.
Okay.
Okay.
That was a terrible joke.
That's a good joke. Come on.
She used her legs.
She used her legs to try to push herself to him as hard as she could, but it didn't satisfy the urge that was building inside of her. She opened her eyes and whispered,
Harder and faster. Cloud leaned forward and kissed her neck. When he realized her, he replied. When he released her, sorry, that was me. When he released her, he replied.
I don't want to hurt you.
She looked him in the eyes, showing the lust that had built, and shook her head. I don't care if it hurts. I want it. I want it as hard and as fast as you can. I don't care if it hurts later. I want you now.
As she finished, he nodded and started pushing into her harder. He felt her tightening walls around him and knew he couldn't keep up with her body's demands for long. He grabbed her hips and pulled them into his thrust as he slammed into her tiny frame. She withered in his arms and pulled him into a kiss as she held their bodies together. When they separated, she begged,
Please. Harder. I'm almost there. Cloud was already going into her as hard as he could, so he moved. So he was above her and pushed in with all his strength and weight behind him. As he did, she started moaning louder. Her moans turned into screams as he continued his powerful menstruations. Faster than before, she let out that long moan as her body tightened around his shaft, holding him in place by the condom. He felt her tighten on him and thrust in as far as he could to release his seed. What? As he did, they heard a faint
shit.
pop. Her eyes shot open as she felt his penis push through its shield and deeper into her unprotected. What's her unprotected? It's acting like it's a noun. There's no comma.
Next time.
Deeper into her unprotected. What? Okay, yeah, I know what it's supposed to mean, but there's no fucking comma after
Yeah.
her. Okay. Before she could reach, Before she could react, he moaned loudly and poured himself into her. He felt his semen pouring deep into her inside of the condom and started pulling it out. She held his hips to hers and smiled. It's too late.
Dun, dun, dun! She let out a soft moan as she felt his member twitch inside of her, pouring the last of him into her. Now he's just like a dried up husk. His whole life force. He hugged her to him and lay on the bench with her on top. She lifted her head from his chest and whispered,
Don't worry. We found a material that can solve that problem.
What? Abortion material?
The morning after materia.
No, I was
it's
thinking,
not an abortion.
I was thinking summon Rusty Hanger or something like that.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God.
He shot his load into her back, into the back of her ass as she pushed back into him. She could feel her crevices being coated with his cum and squeezed her eyes closed as her pussy tightened on his balls. Cloud moaned louder than the shower. Hearing his moan made her gush on his scrotum. The feeling of liquid running down the bottom of his sack made his body want to counter the flow. He reached around her and hugged her torso to his with one hand. He grabbed her breast with the other hand and sucked hard on her neck as he started pissing into her ass.
Oh my God.
What?
Okay, have you ever have you ever tried to pee after that? That doesn't really work.
It takes, you gotta wait a few minutes.
Yeah. Tifa's eyes shot open. She'd never felt anything like it. Well, no shit. Her hips were getting really hot.
God.
His urine was hotter than she was used to making her.
Fucking take this.
His urine was hotter than she was used to making her instinctively try to pull him out of her, but
I really do feel sick.
he held them together, filling her. She closed her eyes, feeling butterflies in her stomach as he filled her colon.
Oh my
And
God.
started filling her intestines with his urine. Being filled up made her imagine being pregnant. Oh, that's a sweet analogy.
What?
She could feel the sloshing
This is disgusting!
in her stomach as he slowed to a stop. She immediately fell forward and caught the edge of the bathtub. He started pumping into her, making her eyes widen as she felt the waves moving around in her.
Oh my God.
She turned so she was over the tub and she felt something rushing up from her stomach. Oh my fuck.
God.
She squeezed her.
Oh my God, I have to... Sorry. Hold on.
Oh, Joe's walking off. He's like gonna puke. Oh. Oh. Oh man, she squeezed her eyes closed as she vomited into the drain. When Cloud saw this, he pulled out of her and moved to her side. I'm sorry, are you alright?
Fucking, I'm not. God, I really felt sick. I thought I was gonna fucking puke. Like, really.
She sat up with the biggest smile and laughed as she coughed. That was amazing!
She just puked!
Yeah.
She's like, yes, I love the vomit.
Well, I think she just puked his piss.
Oh.
Because it came up through her stomach.
Oh my
And then
God.
she puked.
That's a full bladder. He must have had like a gallon of water last night. Just
Yeah.
let sleep on it.
Oh. Have to group up and pool.
Fuck
the
yes, you would.
resources.
Fucking God. Oh shit, we're a clean podcast now.
Are we?
It's tough, man. I'm used to just letting go on these things.
Yeah, you can wait. all right?
Closely. It's gonna be a while.
We've been waiting way longer.
How many times have you said you can wait on our podcast?
I don't know.
Because really, that's just a joke for me. That's
It's a joke for Caleb, too, if he would listen.
yeah, fat Caleb. The other Caleb,
other
as we
Caleb.
call him, he's really fat.
Well, great. Now we're assholes.
Okay. Well, let's explain where that reference comes from. The other Caleb works at a store, and he's really bad at customer
Customer service.
service.
Yeah.
And we were
out in another part, and he was like taking the trash out for his store, and there was a whole line of customers, and we're like, dude, what are you doing? You have a whole bunch of customers. What are you taking the trash out for?
Yeah.
And then his response was...
He was like, they can wait! Because he had seen that someone threw away the little scrubby brush for your windows, you know, with they have like the little water bucket with the solution in there, and you wash your windows while you're filling up. Somebody threw that away, and he was like so pissed about it that he's like, no, those people in there, they can wait. And I'm like, dude, it wasn't them that threw that away. Get in there. Like, what are you doing? The garbage can wait, man. The people that are going to pay the store to keep, keep it in business.
Right, you can
Don't
wait.
wait.
You can wait to take out the trash or to fix whatever the stupid squeegee thing was.
Yeah, so that's the reference. So
they
now
can
you
wait.
understand. Yeah.
I think we've said it like 6 times on this podcast.
I'm sure we have.
We say it all the freaking time.
It's just normal in conversation.
Man, Bart's, it's like it's like around Sid's death in the movie, he was pumping it, man.
He started lifting.
He started lifting and also got really into steroids, I think, is what it was. Because that Sprite did not give me the impression in the Final Fantasy V game that Bart's was just incredibly fit.
Yeah, he's a beefcake in that movie.
Yeah, I want to suck his dick, you know?
I don't know if I'd go that far, but...
Gotta squeeze the mayonnaise packet, right?
Yeah.
Right? Hajime Tabata. What a wonderful name!
Hajime Tabata. Ain't no crisis days.
It means no worries for the release of this game. It's Square's problem-free development team. Hajime Tabata.
Hajime Tabata?
Yeah, he's the new sole director for Final Fantasy 15.
Where's Nomura?
He moved on to Kingdom Hearts 3.
This one man will solve all your problems.
Take Crisis Core, for example.
One Cloud was a younger man.
One Cloud was a younger man!
Very nice. Thank you.
He looked up to his friend's act with a certain appeal, liked his memories enough that making them his seemed ideal.
For fans of the original, it didn't seem half bad. And the game was Hajime Tabata's breakthrough.
No, that game!
It really was a game!
It made that man's name! Oh, what's in the name?
I always get downhearted.
How does it feel?
At the end when...
Caleb. No spoilers.
Oh, sorry.
Hajime Tabata, what a wonderful name. Hajime Tabata, ain't no crisis days. It means no worries for the release of this game. It's Square's problem-free
Development team.
Hajime Tabata.
Yeah.
Although I will say, and you mentioned this earlier, that the fan fiction coming from this thing is going to be horrific for us. But,
what was the name of the fan fiction you were talking
oh,
about?
I saw one when we were reading the Konzen's epic, and it was called My Little Chicken Wuss.
Oh
and I was, like, so disturbed. Like, oh, it's hilarious.
My Little Chicken Wuss.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Yeah, it's such a good name. But
You kill those 8 dragons easily. You just do one thing. You cast Vanish on them, and then you cast Doom on them, and they're dead.
yeah, it's sick. All right, and I owe Joe an obscene act because I bet him that he wouldn't be able to kill this dragon in one go because I forgot about the Vanish Doom trick for about 10 minutes, and I was fighting this dragon. I was like, dude, this guy is sick. This is fucking wrong. And
It was the dragon in the ice field in Narsh, right?
yes.
No, it wasn't. It was in the mountain.
Oh, no, yeah, it was in the mountain.
It was like the black dragon in the mountain. that
Yeah, and the
flies around.
shitty part that I did, I saved after I let the fucking guy out of the box, so I couldn't escape from him, right? And I didn't have Vanish Doom. I didn't have it learned yet, and I couldn't walk around to level up to earn it because this guy was flying around like a psycho. So I had to kill him legitimately, right? But I told Joe
I will blow you if you go into there and you kill this thing in one try. And then I'm sitting there watching him, and I'm like, oh, my God, the Vanish Doom thing. He's going to do it, and he did. So
he owes me a blowjob.
Yeah, so that's going to be interesting.
Yeah. I'm gonna come into your room late, and it's gonna be like 2:00 in the morning. You'll have unlocked your door in your house. Liz will just be asleep there, and I'll be like, Caleb, it's time, and I'll drop my pants.
I'm cashing in.
Yeah, cashing.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that. So
someone owes me a blowjob.
Yeah, it's something that you should use though, because the dragon fights can be pretty tough. Okay, now the Rio would be sweet because it's in the Rio, right? And then. $600 for the 3 nights, and I'm like, oh, that's horrible.
I guess we just have to be adults now.
We do, and just pay out the nose to stay in a place.
But Motel 6 ain't too bad.
No, it wasn't. It was better than the freaking Howard Johnson I stayed in Anaheim. You look on these websites, and they're like showing all these awesome pictures of the rooms. And it's like, oh look, it's got a pool, and this fucking pool at this Hojo in freaking Anaheim is like right next to the street, no lighting, and I'm like, I'm not going out there, okay? I'm not sitting in that fucking hot tub to get my throat slit by some freaking homeless man who just wants my wallet. So this one wasn't bad. Had a nice pool. Spent a lot of time working off the obscene food we ate in the pool, which was nice. So yeah, we get there, check in. Then we
just kind of hung out that first day, didn't we?
Yeah, we
were
checked
there
out the Rio.
The day before the convention started.
Yeah, we hit
Couldn't
in
stay
on
through
Thursday.
the convention, but was there the day before.
Right. And, yeah, we went to the Heart Attack Grill. Ate some obscene food.
Oh, my God, yeah. Because me and Caleb, we'd seen it on the Travel Channel. Like about these just massive burgers where this doctor started this restaurant that was just like hell bent on killing the people who ate there. And it's got this awesome theme where you're like supposed to be, in a hospital, and so they give you like these hospital gowns as you go in, and they put like these wristbands on you. And then, of course, there's sexy nurses are the ones that are serving it to you.
Yeah.
Including a small person.
Yeah, a dwarf.
Is it a dwarf?
A dwarf.
I don't know the politically correct term.
Probably dwarf.
I'm not sure if any of our listeners are of the small,
origin.
Yeah, I don't know how to describe it. Anyway, yeah, a midget.
Oh, see, that's the rude one.
It is the rude one, but it's the best way to describe it. There was a midget nurse there. She was.
It was awesome. If I wouldn't, and what happens is if you don't finish your meal,
I'm not part of that community, so I'm sorry if I'm offending someone by saying midget, but it's so much easier to describe than a small person. I mean,
small.
Ellen Page is a small person. Like,
yeah, there's a difference. Yeah. But if you don't finish,
I know it's not politically correct, and I'm sorry.
It's okay, nobody cares. If you don't finish your meal, right, they will whoop your ass with this paddle. And Joe didn't finish his burger, so he got 3 spankings from...
Well, the burger was fucking 6 inches tall.
Dude, I weighed 4 more pounds when I left than when I came in. Oh. That's how much food we ate.
Oh, so, I shouldn't have gotten onion rings. I could have finished it if it was just the burger. But
the onions on the burger were brutal.
The onions in the burger... plus the onions outside of the burger, I was just like onion overload.
Well,
I couldn't finish it.
Right, it was a burger.
It was good until about
halfway,
until the last patty.
Yeah. So what it is it's got the bun, a layer of onion, which is like
it's a solid layer of onion.
Yeah, it's like a quarter of an inch of an
onion.
They
just sprinkled some onions on. They like cut out a quarter of an inch of onion.
Yeah.
Right in the middle of the goddamn onion.
Whole round of onion and then chili, the bacon, there's bacon on it too, and then the next patty, same shit 3 times. So it was huge, right? And like there was no way of eating this fucking
the triple
thing.
Bypass.
Yeah, there's no way of eating this thing without getting it all over your face. Okay. And
I eventually pulled one of the patties out just to kind of make it a semi-normal looking burger, so
I did the same thing. I
consume
pulled
it.
the patty out and just ate the patty separately.
Yeah, which was disturbing to think about, but that's how you got to do it. And it was amazing.
They go up to 8 patties.
They do. There's no way. And you get one spanking if you don't finish.
I can't remember.
Octuplet
bypass.
Yeah, something.
There's not even that many things that go to the heart, but
yeah, you get one spanking for every patty that you didn't, or that's on the burger that you didn't finish.
I can't believe that's legal. I feel like if I started that as a restaurant thing here, I'd get sued.
Well, you'd have to have a disclaimer probably, and I'm surprised they didn't.
Yeah, and I could have probably said no, but sexy nurse getting spanked.
Yeah, if I wouldn't have finished mine, I would have been like...
Our waitress was very pretty.
She was. I would have been like, it's got to be the midget. If I wouldn't have finished mine. And I would have been naked under my gown and just bare-assed it. And just freaking... But they go at you.
She hit hard.
Yeah. And
I thought it was just going to be like a light little tap because, you're getting spanked. But no... I got fucking brutalized.
Yeah, they go for it, man. Full backhand paddle. It's like a game of tennis with your ass.
Oh, my God.
So, yeah, we went to that, and then we kind of waddled around for a while, hung out. And then visited a few of the sites. We went to the Strip, went through a bunch of casinos.
Yeah, didn't do any gambling, though. When we
No,
were there.
the poker buy-ins were a little high, and Caleb Craig was pretty broke. And I would have been fucking mad if I would have bet $100 and lost it all. I would have been really mad. So
yeah,
I figured we'll do it another time.
That and we play poker here, and we could always play for money. That's
we
fine.
could, yeah. So it's no big deal. And went to the event.
We went to the event
after the burger.
Yeah.
And hung out with some fans, found a few listeners, which was
the
sweet.
night before. Let's talk about the night before. We were, as you know, on the last episode, we had to hand out cards to advertise our podcast, right?
Right.
And we printed out these business cards. What we didn't know until a couple days after we printed off the business cards was that there's this spelling error on the back.
Yeah.
Even though I asked Caleb to check it over and make sure everything was okay. Of course, I'm the one who made the spelling error. So
yeah, I spell things from now on.
So anyway, it says on the back, we are the Ultimate Final Fantasy podcast. There is no T.
Right.
And so every time I had to hand out a card to people that were coming out of the casino from the convention on the first day, which was, I'm sure, very annoying for them. And I don't know if we got any new listeners from it, but
let us know.
Yeah. If you're a listener from the 14 convention, yeah. Let us know. Anyway, I had to hand out these cards to some people were excited to get, the cards about a new Final Fantasy podcast. Other people were kind of PO'd by it.
Yeah.
And those people I'm sure are not listening. Anyway, I had to tell them every single time, there's a spelling error on the back. Because otherwise they're going to go home and see the spelling error and they're going to be like, this
Jackass.
is ridiculous. Yeah. Assholes. But, yeah, that's what I had to do.
It was like a fun game of hide and seek with words.
So I was just on the bridge that was connecting the Rio's parking lot with the casino.
Yeah.
And I was handing out cards there, and then you left. And you want to tell me what happened when you left?
Initially I went because I'm a piggish man and there were dancers, and I was like, yeah, it's kind of boring up here. So I went down, checked out the dancers for a second, grabbed a few beers, started walking around and just finding little packs of people.
I'm up there working on it.
I was working. I found people. I went and talked to a few of the little groups of people sitting around talking about the stuff, asked them feedback on the convention for the day. Some positive, some negative. I mean, overall, the convention was very light that day. It was just the meet and greet, so it depends on how you enjoyed that, really. And I talked to a guy who streams his gaming on Twitch.
Do you have his business card on you?
You know what? I think I still do. Give him a little shout out here for his awesomeness.
Yeah, he's opening his wallet. Just give him a second here.
His name is Alex Inigo.
Inigo? How do you spell that?
Inigo. He's a streamer / editor. And, that's him.
Is that him? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Backlog Battle is his...
At Eternity in Black.
Yeah, that's his Twitter. Anyway, he
Did you
told...
follow him?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
We should. But he told me, he's like, yeah, I just showed up and told him I was going to cover the event from, his backlog... Backlog battle, whatever it is. I think it's backlog battle. But he said he was going to cover it for him, and they just let him in. And I was like, oh my God. We're here for that too, sort of. And so we went in and gave them our card. They checked it out, and
I think they checked out our website.
I think
see
so.
If we existed,
and then they let us in. So holy shit, it was awesome.
Yeah, we got in for free.
We did.
We didn't get any shit though.
Well, we would have if we would have registered beforehand. Because they did give swag bags. They talked about it there. Yeah, they're like, oh, well, these guys can't get one because there's none left. And I was like, oh, damn. But still, I don't care.
I got my little keychain, though.
Yeah.
I now have a lanyard that's Final Fantasy 14. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. It's got a cactar on it, so I dig it. And, so this guy helped us out quite a bit.
Haley Joel Osment should have just always stayed little.
They should have,
Oh, I shouldn't have said that. Now that's on record for me saying that. I shouldn't have said that. That I really shouldn't have said that. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's going to listen to it and he's going to start drinking more. I should have stayed a kid.
I knew it.
Actually, he's in Kevin Smith's new movie coming up here.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, and yeah, so that's the reason we're not doing the side quests, because Caleb said no. We're doing a live broadcast, Caleb. Caleb just walked the door.
There's nothing I can do about that.
I know. I'm just warning you before you come out with your dick out.
Oh, yeah, because I'm just going to whip it out. Unless you guys want to see it.
No, they don't.
I don't think so.
No, plus there's not much to see. It's not high definition enough. We can't zoom in.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, that's too bad.
We could get a still and circle where it's supposed to be.
Twice, are you a fan of musicals?
I guess. I mean, they're all right. I don't really go see them because I don't have time or money, but the ones I have seen, I enjoyed.
Okay. Is there any one in particular that stands out to you?
West Side Story was enjoyable, and the Anne Frank, I guess it was more of a play. Yeah, it was a play. That doesn't count. That one was really good, but not the happy-go-lucky musical.
I don't think you could have a musical about Anne Frank.
Probably not. At least not the ending.
They're downstairs.
Yeah.
Everybody be quiet.
Yeah, I don't know. That wouldn't work too much.
No, it wouldn't work for them.
Idiots, man. They're like, is she here? What about here? We're not going to tell you even if she was.
There was that scene, and they had all the children chained up, I assume, to help with the pulling down of the monument. Not sure why the children are all in a circle. Do you know why?
I don't know. I mean, if you think about it, if they all pull, the monument's not going to go anywhere.
Right, because they're all surrounding it.
Maybe they want to just destroy the monument.
Or, kill the children with the monument falling on them.
Perhaps. Or kill them by breaking them from trying to pull down this monument.
Anyway, just 3 dudes clad in leather, gay as fuck. And they were like, everybody, there's a giant crowd around them, and they were like, give us back our children.
Yeah.
Why didn't they just, you said it before.
Why don't they just rush them? I mean, for one, and then I think it was Caleb Craig, he brought up another point. They didn't give a shit about the children before this point. Most of these kids are the orphans, are the ones that are cast out from society. They're the slum kids.
Yeah, and they've been gone for a few days.
They have. They drove a long distance.
Voluntarily.
Yeah, and the parents didn't care. Maybe that's why they're so pissed, though. Maybe that's it. Maybe
where
not
are
all
kids?
of them.
And then they found them all in a circle around a monument with 3 dudes in leather.
Yeah, 3 really creepy dudes and crying all the time and seriously emotionally scarred.
A little bit of each, because it's all 3 of the women getting fucked, not at the same time, separately.
And it's not even by. It's not I wanted it to be Waka, but it wasn't Waka.
Oh, it wasn't it? Yeah, the guys were just guys.
Yeah,
which was disappointing.
Kind of,
Not
yeah.
not that I really care. I don't ever look at the guy, really.
Well,
I'm always
obviously.
really bugged when it's like that low angle and it's like his balls. You know that angle underneath his like legs?
Yeah.
That fucking pisses me off. I just fast forward every time through that shit. I'm like, I don't want to see this. I just don't want to see his balls or his asshole, which is always like looming at the top of the screen.
The looming asshole.
I guess if I were into guys, I'd feel differently. But I'm
Well, I
into
would
chicks,
assume.
and I think most guys that watch porn that are into women would probably want more women in the.
You know what?
in
Let's
the porno.
Let's put a poll up. No, go to the site, and there will be more balls, less balls, and same amount of balls.
Oh, and the fucking close up. I like porn done in a wide shot. I like to see the woman there. Or maybe in a close up of like her breasts or her face. But no, not of the balls.
Yeah, it was really poorly done, I think.
It was really poorly done. I mean, this is a totally different porno conversation. How did you feel about it besides it just being poorly done?
I don't know. I didn't really have any story. They were just dressed up as
Final Fantasy
Riku,
characters, yeah.
Yeah, it's like the only connection.
It was very high quality costuming, like Gammon Stark was talking
It
about.
was, yeah. They
It
were.
was like legit.
The chick that played Yuna did not look anything like Yuna, though.
I didn't really pay attention.
I was there to. I like Yuna's design a lot, so
alright.
I was very
The
disappointed.
Final Fantasy X-2 version of Yuna?
No, I think I
No?
hate the 10-2 version. Of
Okay.
Yuna.
Alright.
The regular version of Yuna is better.
I'm turned on by the Final Fantasy X-2 version, but...
Really?
Yeah. Short shorts. I'm into that.
Yeah.
Problem. Oh, God.
Well, now that the porn discussion is out of the way,
Well, I mean, really. Why would that be an A? Why would the director be like, you know what we really need? More balls.
I don't
More
know.
balls slapping up against the taint.
That soft slap, the
I
meat
hate
slap.
that, dude. I just... Well, did you see that, like, the boobs versus butts thing that I sent you?
Yeah.
Yeah, where, like, I think it was Pornhub, like, put out their top searches for every country in the world, and there was, like, the percentage of ass versus boobs, you know, because you're always wondering, like, are you a tits guy or are you an ass guy? For some reason, this is important to ask your fellow man, which is really not. I personally am a tit guy, and so I really hate when porn goes down below where I want to watch. I hate going down into the nasties, especially when there's like a giant, like when there's like this dude with a giant cock, and it takes up 2/3 of the screen. I hate it. God, where is the porn for me? Where?
I don't know. Because Japan's isn't for you either.
Well, Japan's, they're
And-
like... I usually watch porn with the sound off, but now that Caleb Craig has moved out of my room, and Cody doesn't really care or anything, he's just in his room, I listen with the sound on, or I watch with the sound on now, and now Japanese porn is really annoying.
Yeah.
Because, like, they do that, like, kind of thing. Sound like little, like, piglets. Or something. Welcome to my world, ladies and gentlemen. In my
There
porn
he
world.
is, Joseph.
How's your porn watching going, Schweiss?
I found there was a lot more cheese this time.
Now, what do you mean
Involving-
cheese? When you say
Okay,
cheese, what do
when
you
I mean
mean?
cheese, I mean like parts that are kind of hard to take seriously, even though they're sort of trying to make it serious.
Such as?
Like, there's a part where, at the very beginning, where Cloud, Tifa, and Barrett, and Biggs and Wedge and them are all, like, on the train.
Avalanche.
Yeah, well, Avalanche, yeah, they're on the train at the very beginning. And Barrett says something about, like, not being able to get off the train. And then
they reference it at the very end of the game, like right when they're gonna go fight Sephiroth, and they just barely get Cloud back from being in his retarded,
It's a
like Mako comatose state. And he's like, well, Barrett, it's like you told me. There ain't no getting off of this train.
And the cheesy part
Do you
about
think Cloud went back? Did he go with the accent too?
I think he did.
Well, Barrett, like you told me, there ain't no getting off of this train.
It just seemed really out of character for Cloud. He had just barely gotten out of his, like, a weird comatose state where, like, Tifa had just fucked with his mind, pretty much. So it's, like, a weird thing for him to have just completely broken character. Oh, my God, that fucking noise.
You're talking about Cloud in the
yes, when he's in the wheelchair. I don't know what that fucking noise is supposed to be, but
you know what? I was wondering the same thing. I'm like, the first time I played this game, this was cool, but the second time I'm like, where is that noise coming from? Is he on a super squeaky chair?
The wheelchair isn't moving, and he's just bobbing his head, and I think he's too retarded to even make noise, so I don't know where it's coming
Maybe that
from.
was him breathing. Maybe he's like snoring.
I was playing it on my computer, and like in the headphones, it was like really loud, prominent, and just constant, and it's like, what the fuck is this? It was like the screaming of the planet too. It's like, and I was like, oh my God, make it stop.
the planet's in pain.
I didn't want it to be in pain anymore. I wanted to save it for real because it was bugging the shit out of me.
Second up, there was a vigil for a dying player in Final Fantasy XIV.
Yes.
The article reads, the Gilgamesh server was witness to the Brotherhood of World Gamers where a dying player was the honorary recipient of a stunning vigil. The dying player, known as Codex Valda, who was a level 50 bard according to Kotaku, so he's probably like level 10, was immediately rushed to the hospital after he suddenly collapsed.
You think anybody who does shit at Kotaku listens to us and it's like, come on guys, stop making fun of Kotaku?
If they weren't so easily picked apart, maybe it wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, maybe.
Alright, so
they've been the source of many false news items that we've had.
Yeah, they'll just jump on and they're like, oh, this must mean this, so let's make a giant article about it that actually doesn't say anything.
Exactly.
The title will be like, Final Fantasy 15 released, and then it won't say anything about that. Alright, so anyway, the dying player, known as Codex Valda, who was a level 50 bard, according to Kotaku, was immediately rushed to the hospital after he suddenly collapsed. A player known as...
He didn't collapse in the game. He collapsed in real life.
Yes. A player known as Pat Min was able to document the situation. He stated that Valda was suffering from renal failure and things were not looking good back then. The saddest part is that prior to his collapse, a donor was already in line. A member of his company shared the tragedy with all players on the Gilgamesh server. The gamers on the server banded together and held a vigil in Codex Valda's honor. Players started appearing in the free company house and peacefully showed their respect for a dying friend. The entire event was streamed and documented on IMGUR. I'm not sure.
Imager.
Imager. Okay. Sorry, dude. I really don't give a shit about what that is.
All right.
And his family was witness to an amazing outpour of support from gamers all over the world. All of it shows the Codex was loved and cared by many people all over the world, even though he was not aware of it. Thanks to Final Fantasy XIV, these fans were able to share their condolences.
That's a nice little story. Anyway,
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
I found that when we were doing the news thing.
Yeah.
I was looking at news and I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's cool to see, the Final Fantasy XIV community not be completely douchebaggery.
Yeah, can you imagine if that was League of Legends?
Yeah, no.
They'd be like,
No,
go die!
Noob.
Yeah, I'm reporting you because you suck. Go fuck off.
You collapsed in the middle of a fucking game. What's wrong with you?
GG, asshole. Yeah, that's how it would be.
And then how did you beat Emerald?
Well,
Tell us about the Emerald fight.
going into Emerald, I saw a strategy online where a guy was basically...
You gotta lick your fingers first when you go into Emerald, right? You just kind of gotta get it ready.
Yeah, get a little moist.
Right.
But,
then you go in.
yeah, basically...
Gotta wait there for a second, let Emerald get used to it, And then, just kind of slowly...
Just go for it.
Just say, hey, I've heard this happened before. It stops hurting after a while.
Essentially.
You just got to do it enough.
Essentially. Come on. With a name like Emerald, you really think it's going to be a first-time thing? There's no
true.
way.
That's...
Any gem.
Any gem. You're right.
Any gem or any spice. You gotta watch out. So, sorry for all of you spice gem named listeners out there, but what I did...
Spice gem.
Yeah, spice gem.
She is not...
Ruby
She's the
cinnamon.
worst of them all.
Ruby cinnamon.
Yeah.
In this
Who
very
would be the
specific
most
way.
giving? I know. Yuna.
Yuna?
Yuna is the most
Yeah,
selfless
Yuna-
person in the Final Fantasy series.
Yuna probably would be, yeah.
So Yuna would probably give some good gifts. Plus, she seems like she has low self-esteem. So Christmas might be a good night.
I don't know if it's quite that low, Joe.
All right, we got another question?
And the nominees for Best Rant are Kanzen Lingo.
As she leaned back, his head poked in between her neither lips. I wish to explore your neither lips.
Neither of them.
Yeah, none. Celeste realized Terra was lined up and pushed her hips back, forcing
What's with all the
Setsu's...
hip talk?
I don't know.
God.
Forcing...
Bunch of hipsters.
To make better leverage as she pumped on Barrett. Pumping. God, fucking pumping every fucking time.
It's
This
like-
guy cannot stop the word pumping.
I think he likes the book 1Q84, the very end, where it's like he pumped her lightly or some shit. Like one of the last lines.
Well, did they continuously use the word pumping?
No.
in 1Q84?
Pumping was
No.
probably used like twice, I'm sure.
And the book is 1,200 pages long.
Yeah.
Tara leaned over to get them and felt the felt brush on her nipple through her dress. Felt. I have seen the word felt like 10 times in the last 2 paragraphs.
He likes his felt.
I guess. She pulled her card back and felt herself getting... God fucking damn it. What a beautiful piece of work, really.
Yeah.
Kanzen's an artist of hips and felt.
I think he lost his virginity on a fucking felt table. I think this is just too much. It's like... And the felt was awesome. It was all awesome.
Crossing the line.
Dude. Okay, Celeste tried to keep her voice steady. It's only natural, Brown, but besides, you turned 18 a few months ago, right? Oh! Woo! Jesus fucking Christ, that was close. I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck? She's a kid.
Oh, that was horrible.
It's still pretty bad, but... Oh, God. Why would he even put that in there?
God, fuck Kanzen and his fucking piece of shit writing.
Oh, man. Oh, shit.
You know what? Fuck it. I'm not gonna read this shit with Realm. It's making me sick.
Oh, what the fuck?
Uh,
Oh, hot gook.
Okay, I'm gonna skip the rest of Chapter 5. You guys can read it if you want. Basically, Realm, it looks like,
Joins in.
joins in on the rest of the action. So, yeah, that's it.
You know what? I think we probably should not read the rest
We
of
are
this.
on exactly 0 of Episode 6 in Final Fantasy Unlimited. We just watched it. Now we're going to watch it again, and we're going to talk over it. So, it's the white screen right before the orange logo comes into frame. 3, 2, 1, go.
Or go and lag a little.
Yeah. Ours lagged a little bit, so you may have to adjust. Not really. Looks like the same staircase there was before.
You're scared, huh? From now on, I'm not going to be afraid of anything out there anymore.
Bullshit!
Don't you just love her extremely dry line delivery?
Yeah, it's...
God. Are they
So we're sure
kids that are voicing these kids?
we will.
Because they sound a little bit like the Charlie Brown kind of thing, where they
Yeah.
sound really dry and like they're actually kids trying to voice act. And so there's an adult like coaching them on how to say certain lines.
Yeah,
That's what it reminds me of a little bit.
kinda, yeah.
And we're back to the opening credits. With the silhouettes we all have grown to not care about. Because with opening credit sequences, honestly, when you have a DVD and you're not doing a commentary, you skip right the fuck through them.
Pretty much, yeah.
But I guess on TV it kind of gets you in there, but at the same time, kind of like, let's just cut to the...
I don't know. The whole time that I watched Vikings season 1 and 2, I watched the intro every time because it's a sweet intro.
Did ya?
Yeah, every time. And with Game of Thrones,
I know
almost
Game
every
of
time.
Thrones. Game of Thrones, we tried to skip it once, and then it like started freaking out through the rest of the episode because we were streaming it, and there was something wrong with the stream
Yeah,
because we skipped the opening credits.
yeah.
It was like punishing us, so we never skipped it again.
Yeah, I like the intro though, so it's okay.
It's a good intro.
It's better than this.
It is better than this.
Look at this really shitty camera.
I don't understand what the
capturing-
crows mean, because there's like a real video of crows that they've like fuzzied up.
Yeah,
It's not animated or anything. I have
It's-
no idea what it means.
it's Odin.
Think so?
No. I wish.
Godzo.
Yeah. I don't think they know what that means. Enter my clam.
God.
The face of deformed midgetry.
Do clams make like a whole shitload of pearls? I thought they just made like one pearl.
I don't know. I think they only do.
Because like her giant ass clam has a lot of pearls in it.
Big old clam. The face of one whose tits are massive.
Fabulous. And the kind of face that she has is Betty Boop.
Yeah.
See a bunch of male dancers out there. Just
Yeah.
so hot.
Chippendales live at the Flame Desert. Again. Yeah.
I'm gonna start digging. Maybe you'll find it.
Yeah.
It is a sand dune after all. I mean, that shit kind of moves with time. God, this is reminding me of Princess Bride a little bit. The fire swamp,
Yeah.
only it's like the fire sands.
Why doesn't she just ride the chocobo?
Maybe it's one of those chocobos that can't, like, ride in the desert. Though I don't think there ever was one of those.
Oh, and 7?
At any of them.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And you can't, like, ride in the mountains. Sometimes you can't ride in the forest.
Yeah. And then sometimes, like in 5, you have to be in the forest to get off of them.
Yeah, that's true. What, the purple chocobo?
Yeah.
I find the chocobo to be the most interesting of the characters.
Yeah. The best line
So
delivery.
far, that and the cabbage lady, who I am still strangely attracted to.
Yeah, I think someone needs to, like, fuck the shit out of her, though. She's, like, super horny all the time. She's like, ooh, my gun. I wonder what would happen if I sat on it. Ooh.
Is that what she's thinking?
Yeah.
What did she...
It was soup.
Did the kid throw... Okay, it was soup. It looked like blood.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping at first that he just got, like, he threw, like, a bowl of razor blades at the guy and just fucking killed him. I was like, God, this show's stepping in a sweet direction.
That would be awesome.
You failed me.
Is that what you're telling me to do? Why don't they just hire me? God.
If I may, Your Excellency.
Oh, you may. Any time.
Yeah.
Just stay your happy little self.
Still haven't figured out if... Did she say... Your... Okay.
Your Excellency, it's...
Your Excellency, is it a girl?
I don't know, actually.
If you don't do it,
It's like a little fat 11-year-old girl or a little fat 11-year-old boy.
Yeah. They're essentially the same at this age.
Toby, let me give you some water, okay?
Chody, are you thirsty?
You know what? Maybe you're an animal lover, but human beings need the water more than the fucking bird right now. And the bird could just run out of there.
True.
We've seen how fast chocobos can travel.
Animal Protection Day.
Okay, did you see that frame? The girl was framed with the boob of another character. Something you never see in fucking Western films. But in Japan, with animated movies, all the time, always.
Yeah.
How do we frame the face of this character?
I knew it.
How about the other character's giant tits?
Yeah.
Even in a non-sexual scene, they're trying to push the sexuality there. I mean, you could think of a million other ways to do that shot.
Yeah. And then they drowned
Like
Chobi.
an over-the-shoulder shot. Instead, it's an over-the-tit
Yeah.
shot.
They're floating in on the... Oh,
Okay,
wow.
I don't understand the little flowers where they're either their butts or their package is supposed to be.
Yeah.
They're just like they're doing their fucking those car dealership kind of air.
Yeah, I can't remember what those are
What
called.
are those fucking things called?
The one...
They're like the balloon people that kind of
Did you see Malcolm?
flow with a fan.
Now there's the Digimon fly here.
Is that what that reminds you of?
Yeah. I don't know why. Perhaps there was a Digimon
I never
back
watched
in the
Digimon
day.
as a kid. I always watched Pokemon, and I was like religiously against Digimon.
I was too, but the card game was kind of cool.
I never played the card game. I just thought it was a waste.
I had
But
one...
after our friend Dylan sold all his Digimon cards for like hundreds of dollars, and he didn't even have that many, it's like, maybe I should have collected a few and kept them.
Yeah. You can sell it.
I feel that way about my first edition Pokemon cards around that time, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that would require you keeping shit that you don't want for a long time.
Very long time. Oh, yes. The asshole monsters. They're coming. Pucker up.
Oh, because you said they're the asshole monsters, now every time I see that fucking shot where they're all coming at them, because they repeat that shot a few times through this episode, now I have to think about that. I have to think of a shitload of, like, giant assholes coming at our lead characters here.
Well, they just got fucked.
Dennis.
Yeah. Except for that one.
See, when you look one in the asshole, another one comes to the side.
Yeah.
That's what Dr. Grant said at the beginning of the series.
Yeah.
Jurassic Park reference.
Clever sphincter.
You've got assholes here? Yeah. They're all female. It's fine.
It's times like these that I remember my standing on a stick holding water. Oh god, that seems like it could end very poorly, especially with that shot
Well,
there.
if her knees lock, she's fucked.
Yeah.
You have to start over. This is how we abuse our children here.
Yes. Oh yes. Is it going to be the branch rape scene from Evil Dead?
Are you into that? Because you were like so excited.
I mean, that was awesome in Evil Dead.
Well, I certainly hoped something sexual would happen between the character with giant tits and then, of course, the hot cabbage.
Part cabbage, part radish.
Oh?
Yeah. Radish where it counts.
I don't think I know my vegetables. I think that may be the problem.
Radishes are kind of more sour.
Aww.
You're gonna get hug.
You're gonna get hug. Let me get my bag. Or what does she call it? Oh, Pocky Pocket? What does she call him? Polly Pocket?
Yeah, it's something like that.
Lisa Visa. Let's go help Lisa Visa from the Hug.
Yeah. It reminds me of that episode of Futurama where they do the snoo or whatever. Like the giant race of women that mate.
I don't know my Futurama.
Oh my god, that's such a great episode. Or the South Park.
Still not 100% sure what landed on the Chocobo's head. It looked like a crab of some kind. Well, it's like a donut crab.
Yeah. It looked like
at first I thought it was like a chocolate donut, and then it sprouted legs.
It's chocolate donut amoeba.
If you stand on a stick long enough, you will one day be able to explode the trees that you're tied to with vines.
Yeah.
Listen to me, child. That is Keegan Arts.
Yes.
Now open on Sundays. Here we go. Oh, she used it. You will also be able to leap 200 feet in the air.
And do sweet kung fu moves. But
But
no
yet-
actual kung fu.
Yet you're not able to just pick up the children and, like the Hulk in Ang Lee's 2004 movie,
Leap across the desert.
leap across the desert. Is that what year it came out? 2004? Somewhere around there. It was
Yeah,
before
something like
Brokeback Mountain, but after Crouching Tiger. Sorry, I'm a big Ang Lee fan. All you Hulk haters out there. That's his only bad movie.
There are many spirits constantly flowing through nature. People have such a foolish existence.
And for some odd reason, rocks are supposed to remind us of that.
Yeah, really nature filled. Lots of life.
What I saw was a lot of spirits in the rocks.
Oh, okay.
With
Remember the water.
With the green tint.
I know how she became one with nature. It's when that stick went up her ass.
You know what happens to an asshole when you scorch it with fire?
Puckers.
Same thing that happens to... No, actually, it does nothing.
Closes. See, the stick is gone. The sticks are gone. I know where they're at. You have become one with the tree. You may now explode them at any time.
I'm pretty sure the stick is underwater and not where you are implying.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, her ass is underwater, too, so it
For
could
some
be.
odd reason, the first time we watched this, I thought she, spilled the buckets, and, the water amount was just from the buckets.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
My God, those are... Fuck, her shoulders should be huge.
It's like glacier water. It's under a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
For some odd reason, after the buckets dropped, it just, expanded.
Captain Reed takes that uranium and through a remarkable system uses it for amazing propulsive power.
The water in Wonderland. So the
Tune in next time for Memory Sin.
Because I used my Keegan Arts before I finished reading The Spirit of the Water in Wonderland.
Okay, that fucking means nothing to me. Okay, so that one girl, floats away. They all fall from the same distance, and she's the only one who gets hurt.
Vincent Valentine.
And for some odd reason, in mid-water air, whatever fucking spout she's in, she notices that the other character is hurt. It's fucking stupid. And then, CPR, she's going way too slow.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be going, I think, to the beat of like Another One Bites the Dust. Like, you're supposed to be doing CPR at about this. Yeah. But instead she's like, maybe I should use my Keegan arts to learn CPR. 30 compressions and 2 breaths.
Yeah.
Caleb didn't believe me on the breaths.
I thought they stopped doing that.
They did for certain training levels. If you're if you are trained in CPR, past like regular first aid for whatever work you need to do it for, you'll be doing the breaths. It's important they have a barrier though, which I no longer have. I used to have this thing that looked like a packet with a condom in it. It was actually a breathing barrier for CPR, but it eventually ripped off my my lanyard.
I see.
So now, if some dude needs CPR, I just can't do anything about it.
Yeah. Vincent Valentine in The Flame.
So he was eaten. Are we supposed to assume that he's dead?
They just rip him apart. It's fucking... No, but it thawed. Not like this. Not the assholes. He's like pulling his legs up to him. He's like, no.
They do the same shit in Men in Black, where like Tommy Lee Jones goes into the giant creature at the end of the film, the giant cockroach, and then of course he like shoots himself out later. And this guy does basically the same thing, just with Moby Dick, and I don't get it. If you would have to know like how that creature, how they digest food in order to know that, hey, I'll be okay as long as they don't chew. Like, you have to know that somehow.
You also have to make sure they don't chew.
Like, what if they had like fucking rocks in their stomach to like crush up food,
or they were like sharks, like going down, you get destroyed.
I don't know
many
about
rows
sharks.
of teeth.
Oh yeah, I don't know anything about sharks' insides.
So yeah, he did.
But he is able to stand up and let his helicopter prop just spin.
Yeah, this has got to be hell on this thing's stomach. It should have been like. All muffled.
This time he has substances that don't make any sense whatsoever. The soil that drinks thirst. In other words, the soil that drinks lack of drinking.
Yeah.
God.
Crusher White is the Mockin.
1/3 of the manga.
Yeah.
They're not seeing any of this. Okay, now they see it. Moby Dick.
It's the lunar whale!
Damn, you took my spot where I was gonna say a fucking white whale joke.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Don't go to the moon, you'll get fucked.
I'm looking for the white whale.
It's going to the moon!
I was hoping there'd be a harpoon in the whale with fucking Captain Ahab just kind of on the right along. Tangled
blown.
up in the shit like he is at the end of Moby Dick. My Moby Dick references are lost on Final Fantasy fans, I have this feeling. I was obsessed with Moby Dick when I was a child.
Yeah.
Yeah. before I went through the dinosaur phase, I was really into a whale phase.
Really?
Yeah.
It was pure dinosaurs.
So I
from
like
too
read
long.
Moby Dick like 9 times, and I had both the movies, and I just watch them over and over again.
Wow.
Like the actual movie with Gregory Peck, and then the Hallmark movie with what's his name? He's in Star Trek. It's like the captain, but it's not. Everybody else knows who I'm talking about, so I'm just gonna go. Anyway, that's the episode. Caleb, you got anything to add about that episode?
I don't know.
You don't like that music, Caleb?
No, not really. Does anyone like the music? I'm sure somebody likes
people
the
like
music.
the music. I'm sure they like that Japanese stuff that I really don't like. But tell you what, Japanese music I really like. The guy who does the scores for Studio Ghibli, at least a lot of their movies, Joe Hisashi, I think is his name.
His name's Joe.
His name is Joe.
He's not really Japanese then.
No, he is Japanese. I've seen an interview with him. He does some fantastic musical scores because he did the ones for Ghibli, and then he also did one for a movie called Departures, which is probably one of the best films I've ever seen. It won the 2000, I think it's either 2008 or 2010 Academy Award for Best Foreign Film, and he did the score for that. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous score. So it's not all bad.
Yeah, no, I don't think it is. I mean, obviously Naboo's music is great.
Oh yeah, Naboo's is great.
Although I do always complain.
I just don't really care for Japanese pop or Japanese rock. Some of the Japanese metal that we've been linked to on the forums
It's pretty good,
has
yeah.
been pretty good, yeah. But metal's not that popular in Japan.
Yeah.
I talked to Yoshia about it, and he's like no one listens to metal. It's
No
a very,
one listens
it's a very
to metal
underground
here.
thing. That's true, but like 5 years ago, like the emo metal, that was kind of in vogue. So maybe it was a little bit more than 5 years ago.
It's still kind of popular. It depends. It depends
Still-
on what you consider.
It's still kind of popular, but here's the thing: it was in vogue, where like bands were like doing good, and there was a lot of rock radio stations,
Mhm.
and now it's gone to pop again
Or freaking alternative.
or alternative.
God, they keep changing my old favorite station. They made it like a classic rock thing, and they would play Poison all the time, which pissed me off kind of because I don't like Poison very much. And they wouldn't play any of the heavier classic rock. And then they changed it to a sports show, and then they changed it to a fucking alternative rock. And I'm like, dude, there's only like 4 of those here.
You know what I think it is, Caleb? I think that some people just like music as a background kind of noise kind of thing. So they're the ones who tend to just listen to whatever's popular. And I think there are people like us, or I'm speaking for myself here, who I like what I like, and I don't really listen to much else outside of that. I mean, sometimes someone will show me something that's good, and I'll explore that for a little while. But
Yeah.
I don't listen to a top 40 station. I listen to what I want to listen to. And I realize to a lot of people, especially people who listen to our podcast, that may be Japanese pop. But for me, it's, late 80s heavy metal, early 90s rock, and 70s rock. Big
Yeah.
fan of, yeah. Really hate 80s music outside of 80s metal.
I don't know.
And
Some of the
that hair metal is not included in that. It's like the thrash metal around then. That's what I like.
some of the
Some Phil Collins ain't too bad.
stuff like that. Some of it's really good. The old techno stuff that hasn't aged very well.
But
at
like,
all.
I don't really care for Madonna
No, I don't. Really.
or the Donny Osmond when he got older. I don't really care for, or
Yeah.
anything in that kind of pop genre.
That pop as we know
Pop
it
or
is-
like that rock, almost pop kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's popular genre.
Well, I mean, pop
rock,
isn't
I don't really
necessarily
care for it.
just popular. I mean, it's obviously got its own sound now.
It's
Just kind of the upbeat,
it had its own
cheery.
sound then, but
It did, but it really just means popular.
it's supposed to be.
Yeah, but it's a lot.
But now we're all into the subgenres of shit. which mean nothing.
It always makes me
New
mad.
wave of American heavy metal. That's the stupidest fucking genre title.
It makes me mad when I used to pick up AC/DC CDs and it would be rock/pop, and I'm like,
No, we can't just scientifically like bring down like what a genre is, and a genre be a really wide thing, you know.
people have to segregate into small little groups and
I guess
ostracize.
it's kind of like, oh, I like this band and this band, thus they are the same.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's weird because plenty of people like bands from the era that I like bands from, but they'll be like, oh yeah, I love 70s rock. I love Van Halen and I love Def Leppard, and I'm like, yeah, they're all right. I mean, they're not my favorite, but I like other bands in that group way more. It's not that they're not part of that group, it's just that they're the other end of that group for me, and it's like,
You know, but even then, like, I'm going through a metal phase right now, but that doesn't mean that I don't listen to other music, too.
yeah.
It's like, I have listened to pop. I'm actually a big fan of Justin Timberlake,
Yeah.
believe it or not, and I like Metallica at the same time. Isn't that interesting? And Slayer every once in a while, if I feel really angry.
I like Slayer a lot.
But yeah.
I used to like Slipknot more, but I was wrong.
I don't like synthesized scores for movies, okay? And don't like Japanese pop. I just don't like it. It just doesn't sound good to me.
The metal babies.
Everything that I've heard so far. Yeah, the baby metal is weird. It's really weird.
I think it's
but
sweet.
it sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it might be bullshit, but I'm not sure.
The old guitarist for Megadeth lives in Japan. He does a bunch of music over there.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, he does.
Which one?
The really famous one whose name I just forgot. Martin Freeman. Friedman, yeah. Martin Freeman is the guy from The Hobbit. And
Yes.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and The Office. And
Yeah, we had to make that distinction
Martin
last
Friedman.
time. You're like, what is the Hobbit guy?
Is the guitarist for Megadeth.
God, this guy's a
Or
freak.
one of the guitarists for Megadeth. He's probably better than Dave Mustaine.
Yeah.
At
Well, Dave
least
Mustaine has
at
acknowledged.
soloing, he's better.
Dave Mustaine has acknowledged that there have been better guitarists, and he acknowledged it for certain albums that Friedman was affiliated with.
Ah, yes.
So,
Friedman is pretty sick.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, guys, go check out Megadeth, and
Yeah. There's our plug for an already super popular band.
thanks for listening to our commentary. Don't give me shit for opinions on stuff that's not Final Fantasy related. I feel like that should just be a rule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean,
Like you'd say, I disagree, but don't give me shit for it. God.
yeah, I mean, it is a matter of opinion. It's
Don't thumbs down a video just because I don't like fucking synthesized musical scores. Has nothing to do with Final Fantasy, and this is a Final Fantasy podcast.
true, but it was brought up in the Final Fantasy.
That's true. It was maybe I should shut up then, because I don't want to feel like I can't go off on a tangent ever.
Yeah, we don't need to go off on them as often as other podcasts
True.
where it is a tangent.
Anyway, guys, so this should be releasing on New Year's, and we'd like to say Happy New Year's,
Yeah.
and let's hope for a great 2015. Stay tuned for our best of episode. Hopefully, we'll have more room for commentaries in the future.
Yes, we would like to do them if the episodes aren't too brutally long to fit them. So,
All right, guys. We'll see you in a couple days.
see you then.
Ultima Final Fantasy is a podcast